That book for like North American birds.
Yeah, look at these general identifying characteristics right there.
Mm-hmm.
Here and here. I think they have that swallowtail, don't they? But there's another one over here that has that same swallowtail. Kind of right there. Do they have, what about the wings? There's so many birds. I expect those are going to be real common now.
I'm not sure. That looks like them flying around.
Yeah.
What kind of tails do they have? It's hard to tell. It looks, yeah, it's a little like fan shaped.
Yeah. With a split tail on them.
To me, it looks either like that one or that one.
Which one do you think?
Either that one or that one.
Really?
That's what it looks like to me. I don't know. It's like,
there's a big difference in the tail.
it's like a triangle. Yeah, to me it looks like a middle ground between those two, where it's a little, it's not as big as that one, but it's full like that one.
Okay.
It's like a triangle shaped.
Well, I said I've been for a long time fooling with it.
Mm-hmm.
If they're still here, I don't know how long they'll be here.
I like bird books like this. I think they're neat.
I don't think they're marked because it's a bit late for them.
Yeah.
They're usually real prompt on their migration, so to speak.
They like it colder. Is that it? Or they just...
Yeah, well, no, I don't think they like it colder better. They come down here in the cold. They come down here in the cold and they go usually out west, Mexico and out west
Oh, I see.
in the summer.
This one's got a weird tail.
Yeah.
Looks like a, and same with this other one. It looks like a rat. This one.
Anyway. Not easy to identify birds. That's the reason why people spend their lifetime bird watchers, trying to accomplish recording all the birds that they sing. Keep files on them.
Yeah. See that lizard over there?
Regular science, huh?
There's a lizard over there that just crawled onto the chest.
No, with lizards around here. That's a good thing. Good thing though, they eat a lot of insects, especially mosquitoes and things, spiders. That's their diet. You really can't have too many lizards as far as I know. There's nothing bad about them. I don't think there is anything bad about them. What's that noise? Dog over there? They got a big dog over there.
I don't hear anything.
On the other side of that fence, they got a big, like a
There's
German Shepherd that
Yep.
dog.
There were some dogs barking earlier.
If you walk up to that birdhouse, do they fly away or not? I can't tell you the answer to that.
They, when I tried earlier,
If you close enough,
they did.
get a better look at them.
Yeah, they didn't. They seemed a bit skittish.
Yeah.
They may get a little close, but still hard to tell.
So what are you supposed to do with all that stuff in that old shed there?
I'm just gonna put them in containers and have my mom sort through it,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna take the actual shed. Gonna take all the bits of it and put it by the street.
That circular thing right there with the hole in the center.
Yeah. What is that?
That's a air breather for a 4-valve carburetor. For a Delco carburetor for sure. Automobile. That's supposed to be kind of a collector's item. Set that aside and I'll hang it up in there. It's got a cover for it too. It goes over the top. Then you got a paper insert that goes inside the cover, which you're supposed to change out periodically. It filters the air going into the engine.
Does
Set
that
that over in the corner right there.
does that have any use anymore?
Oh yeah, a lot of people still, hot rodders still use 4-valve carburetors. Old timers, especially old timers. Normally they first came with one, so to speak, barrel, one feed through the center, and then 2 and then 4, got up to 6. Now they got fuel injection, they don't even use them anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of people still got them in hot rods. People with carburetors that lock the engine. Usually chrome.
I guess I'll leave that here then.
What you gonna do? Put that on the street? You gotta pick it up.
Yeah.
It's not as good anymore. I repaired it one time, but I don't think it can be repaired again. The train makes a lot of noise sometimes. You ever notice how the wind affects the noise too?
Yeah, because you can't really hear it right now. You can just
You
hear.
can tell the direction of the wind if you know what you're listening to. The wind's got to be blowing near this way now, into it. Train not usually that noisy.
You can't really.
Hard to explain why the wind affects the noise, but it does.
Yeah, you can't really hear the direct tone of the sound. Like, you can't really tell that it's a train, but you know that's what it is because
Yeah.
you just hear all the wind rushing by. Where even? The train isn't too close to here, is it?
Nice out here, isn't
I mean, it's like, yeah, it's like on, I guess it's just across the highway on the other side. I wouldn't
it?
really
Well,
think
that's
you could.
deceptive because, like I was saying before, the wind, especially and other environmental things, has an effect on the direction of noise. Especially the wind. Breeze. so it can be deceptive. But anyway, there's only one railroad track around here. It runs east and west.
Mhm.
Must be a long train. So it sounds like it's moving pretty fast.
Yeah.
Something I'd be curious about, why you guys always take that water hose and throw it over the bushes? Why don't you just coil it up right out there so it's easy to handle and everything? Something you thinking about getting it out of the way or some kind of thing? You just coil it up right there in a coil, you know what I'm saying?
I only touch it whenever I mowed the lawn.
Yeah, I know.
And it's always, when I interact with it, it's always just already over there.
Okay.
And so I kind of just push it down there because I don't really, when I mow the lawn, I don't really get in there. I just get the actual yard. And then I sort of put it wherever it was when I started.
It seemed to me it'd work better if you just coiled it up right out there on a good space so you could walk up and pick up the whole thing, just picking up, stick your arm in a circle and picking up it all.
Yeah.
Rather than have get it out of those bushes. Or just unwind it, you know, grab the end of it, walk down there, and the tail on behind you.
You said you haven't really touched the guitar yet?
And what?
The guitar? You said you haven't really used it yet?
Hadn't really done what, Sam?
Used the guitar?
Oh, no, I gotta get some directions, some instruction.
Yeah, I can help you.
Okay. Now see that dark one right there?
Yeah.
I believe those could be Martin. Because they come out that, you know, the males are colorful and the females are camouflage, so to speak, or more. That's recognizable. Those, I believe, are probably Martins, because that's their suit of color. That's the way they are. They look a little bit, maybe too big, but then they are full grown now. There's no young ones on them this time of year.
Yeah, it's true.
I expected just Martin, delayed Martins. Some hadn't left yet. There's a bunch of them out there. Earlier when they first came in here. Every one of those houses, I expect those are just Martins. See, as I see some of them are fully colored black and not really discernible, and the rest of them are more colorful. Males, generally speaking, males and birds are always more colorful. Like cardinals, you notice cardinals, really bright red bird cardinals.
Yeah.
But you notice there's some that are bright red like that, and you know, that's how you distinguish between a male and a female.
Yeah.
Male and brother, that's the same thing with almost all birds.
Mm-hmm.
The females are more they're probably supposed to be or created to be more secretive and more less bold than males. Males want to stand out, shocking, colorful. Usually, almost always. There's some exception, but not enough to speak of.
Did you know that guitar is part electric?
Yeah, it can be good.
You can plug it in. Might make it easier, honestly.
To play electrically, you mean plug it in, get you.
Yeah, I have an amp you can borrow.
You do?
Yeah.
Did you plug it in? See how it sound on
No, I didn't. I can bring it over.
it? Did you fool with it at all? Does it sound pretty good to you?
Yeah, it sounds good to me. It sounds smooth. It's definitely, for being, like, Mom got it from, like, someone that she knows.
Yeah.
So it's
How
not
does
like,
that automatic tuning system work on it?
yeah, it just has a tuner built into it. I haven't fooled with that yet.
It's
But-
supposed to be automatic. It's supposed to. I say automatic is.
The guitar doesn't tune itself. It just has an
Yeah.
indicator on it to let you know if it's on tune or not, so you can do it easier. You don't have to,
Let you know if you're in the ballpark on
yeah. I need to get you. You don't have a guitar pick yet, do you?
it. No,
I have
I
a
don't
few.
have a
of those.
guitar pick.
I have a few of those I can give you too.
Boy, that would be good. I don't know if I'd ever really get around to food with a long time. I did years, 50 years ago.
Oh really? Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of time to
Yeah.
be really good, but
It takes a lot of time.
what I like about it is that it requires very little time to still be able to have fun with it.
Yeah, make some chords maybe.
Yeah, because you can always do simple stuff
Yeah.
and have fun with it, and you can personalize it a little bit.
Yeah. And those Martin guitars are collectible too. I don't know a lot about that one, but all of them are.
Mm-hmm.
Been around a long, long time.
You want me to show you one chord? Want me to show you your first chord?
What, D? Yeah, go get it. You know where it is?
Yeah, I know where it is. I went in there and looked for it before I asked about it. I'm gonna get to it. This case is kind of heavy.
Yeah, I wish they had Martin rode across that case. That's a nice setup there. Get some kind of stick-on thing or something, you know. What does it say on that plaque right there? Martin, is that all it says? at the
It
top?
says, Martin and Co. established 1833. It's a long time ago. 1833.
Yeah, before the Civil War. Wait for the Civil War.
I didn't even know that. Were they still? I didn't even know guitars were a thing back then.
Oh,
Or-
go back a lot further than that.
Really?
Go back to Britain.
I actually didn't know that.
And Spain, but Europe. Go back to Europe.
It was probably an earlier version, maybe. Yeah, it's Yeah, it's in tune right now. It'll be hard to. Might be a little hard to do without a pick, but I usually just gently strum with my fingernail. That's the chord I want to show you. This is, in my opinion, this is like the most basic chord. Not even necessarily because of the placement, but it's used a lot, and I think it's pretty easy. Are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Yeah, so I put it like that. And with that one, it's put your middle finger on the bottom fret. This one.
Bottom fret, you said?
Like this one is usually fret to the bottom because this is the lowest tone. So it's that one there. See if you can get this finger on there. And scooch it up one more fret. And then this finger naturally falls onto that next one there. And then this one pulls back to that top one. Right up there. It's a little hard to land, maybe. You could do, some people shorthand it towards just the bottom two.
Do that, man.
Yeah, just try just that one and that one. And
Which
then,
one?
Middle finger on the third bottom.
The third bottom.
So right there. And then this one right there. And then just try strumming it from there.
Yeah. I don't know, Sam.
it's kind of tricky to do, but I
Here,
think
you show me. Stand up, you show me.
it's just right there, and right there.
You already got calluses on your fingertips from doing it?
only a little bit. I don't play that much, honestly.
That's until you get calluses on your fingertips, this kind of pain can be painful. That's good, though.
It was definitely uncomfortable at first, but you kind of get used to it. This guitar, for an acoustic, it's really, like, again, since it's not even, like, new, it feels like brand new to me. It feels really smooth, and it doesn't hurt as much as it usually does. The frets aren't as pointy.
I need to get a diagram of this.
You could try like one string at a time. That's what we did in my. That's
what?
In my guitar class in school. But I didn't learn any new information there. But how they taught it was. That's not how I learned it, but they taught it like one. You would start just with individual notes and do melodies, and then you would do chords later. It's also it's kind of hard when you start out to work because you pluck it right as you put your finger on it, especially when you're moving a bit faster.
Something else I like to have for you is a strap.
Yeah, my mom just got me one of those for my birthday.
Well, I like to get one of the Martin strap for that from that company. Is this right here where the strap is? Where the strap up?
Yeah, it goes here and there.
Yeah, okay.
Usually on like an electric or something, it's higher up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Do you want to try making notes on the lowest string? That's what a lot of people do starting out. That's what I used to do when I was like 12 and I thought I could play guitar. I would just play on the bottom string.
Play on the bottom string.
Yeah, so just try like pressing that and then just pressing the first string and then move it up. One thing also that I think is really helpful to know, like from the beginning, is that whenever you're like putting your finger on the fret, you want to try to align it as close as possible to the middle, because if you get it like there, the sound gets like negated. Yeah.
I gotta condition my fingers for that.
Yeah, you played some notes though. We'll go more in depth with it later, but I just wanted to see if you've done anything on it yet.
When you're strumming the guitar, do you still hit the bass note first and then strum it on the other four?
No, usually people just strum it like all at once.
Some
of them do like Bill Withers. He does like a
they'll kick it off and then they hit the other string.
Yeah, where they do like a little bass part, like sort of how you do on a piano, like how they do stuff like that. But that's more complicated usually.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah, I wanna help you out with it.
All right.
It's a nice guitar.
And you can hook it up to the electronics.
Mm-hmm. Supposedly, if it works, it should.
Thank you, Sam. I was carried in there.
No, I'll get it.
You're really good with that. That's really a nice thing to know. Something you can fall back on.
I just...
your own entertainment and all accomplishment there.
Yeah, that's what I just use it for, is just sort of messing around. But the more you do it, you just start to figure stuff out. I don't know. Dun, dun, dun.
Gotta get those fingers in condition if you're gonna play a lot, haven't you? It's like getting you physical training for anything. You used to have to get calluses on the tips of your fingers.
Yeah, most people still do. For me, it's mostly bad with bass now, because I have a bass and the strings are much thicker,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
it's a lot harder on my hands.
no doubt.
Especially because I have pretty small hands.
Yeah,
It's kind of hard to reach sometimes.
yeah. See him play those guitars with that bar?
Hmm.
That's a lot easier if you can do it, isn't it?
Uh,
On your hands, especially, I'm talking about.
that's true. I mean, again, as it is with all music, it's as complicated as you make it, really.
Yeah, right.
Uh, I played I played a bit of steel guitar. That's usually what that's called. Where no, slide guitar. Where you have the slide and there's a lot of guitars that are made specifically to be a slide guitar, where it's like you physically can't play it like a normal guitar because the strings are elevated, and you just slide it along, and it's usually like horizontal. Usually people play it on their lap or they have a stand for it.
Yeah.
But sometimes people will use a slide on a normal guitar. Sometimes as like a stylistic thing. But I played one of those lap steel guitars at Rock Band one time, and my part was really easy because it was just bar chords, which it's just when you hold down all the frets like in a line instead of making a pattern. So it's pretty easy. But then there are some where they when you get really complicated, it's actually really hard to use a slide. Like when you, especially for more complicated melodic stuff, it's hard to switch between individual strings when sliding, because it's easier to have it like flat across all of them. But when you're trying to get at one specific string, especially when it's one like in the middle, it's hard to get in there without accidentally hitting other strings.
Yeah. That's like life, isn't it? Well, how's school going? How much longer you got to go?
I only have couple weeks, honestly, like a few
Really?
weeks. Yeah, I haven't really been thinking about it, because all I've been thinking about the last couple weeks is this presentation that I have. It's on Tuesday. It's following Tuesday, and I was really stressed out about it, but I'm not worried about it too much anymore, because last week I got it all put together, and I feel pretty confident I can talk about anything. I honestly think that I would do fine even if I didn't have a script, but I still need to trim stuff up a little bit. But it's just a big, for one of my programs that I'm in, AP Capstone, we have to do like our first-hand research and make a presentation about it, and it's going to be submitted to...
What's that again? That's like, what is it? What's it about?
It's
Subject?
it's like English, kind of, but it puts together like AP literature, where we like read and analyze literature, and then but at the same time we're doing AP research, where we research like, because last year it's a 2-year thing, and in the first year we had AP seminar where we like looked at other people's studies, and we like talked about it and like the implications of them, and we compiled
Wow.
a bunch of studies to make a certain point. But this year the point is to conduct your own study.
Originality. Huh?
Yeah, and come up with your own data and stuff. So I went around like local cities and collected some samples from their community water systems, and I'm like
Wow.
doing a correlational analysis, like on their like water management systems and their like budget and stuff. I was really interested in it at first, but kind of my motivation's kind of been killed because it's just been a lot of work
Yeah.
and a lot of tribulations along the way. Like not everything went how I expected it or wanted it. Like I was gonna use the lab at the local marine research lab, but I called and emailed them a couple times and they didn't really get back to me. So they told me that they would get back to me and then they didn't, in time, at least.
We should have just drove up there and went and talked to them.
Yeah, but it was hard to because they close. They're only open on weekdays, which is when I'm in school, and then they close at like 5. So I get out of school at about 4, and then plus the traffic, I usually get home at about 4:30, and then.
Plus you got other activities too. I understand.
Yeah, I have band like 2 or 3 days of the week. Yeah. So it was hard. Yeah, it was not super feasible to do that, but it was fine still. It worked out. Other than that, everything's fine. I mean, math.
Trouble with that kind of thing sometimes is you don't really know enough about it to begin with
Mm-hmm.
for it to be technically
Significant.
successful for you. In other words, you don't even know the questions to ask about it.
Yeah,
You got to find out a whole lot about it before you know the questions to ask about it.
that's true. Because it's not like I have the life experience or career knowledge of a person that actually maintains those water systems, so I don't really. It's like, in the grand scheme of things, I actually don't really know what I'm talking about, but I just have to try to convince the.
You don't even
The
know what's
graders
expected,
do.
really. You don't even know what's expected on it.
Yeah.
And as far as the treatment, successful or whatever.
Yeah. It's hard to really know what goes on behind the scenes, Like, it's hard to get details on the treatment process, but I just tried to piece. I feel like I did a decent job piecing stuff together. The cities are like required to post a consumer confidence report for their water, and it like details each type of contaminant in the water, and like how much of it there is and how it compares to the EPA like allotted value that they're allowed to have. Maximum contaminant level is what it's called, and then it like lists why each contaminant is there. Usually it's like some of them are just microbiological components that were there like in the source water that was like left over, and then some of it is like byproducts of the treatment process that they like leave their own chemicals in it.
Yeah.
But each of the contaminants is like acceptable up to a certain extent.
Right.
Even lead and copper sort of follow their own rules because they're particularly hazardous. But like Gulfport's
Yeah.
only has, they're measured in parts per billion, like on a molecular level. So it's like Gulfport has 1 parts per billion of like lead in their water. And Gaucher's has 3, which is 3 times the amount.
Yeah.
But that's where the basis of my research came from, because I was looking at that difference, and it's like those 2 places are so close to each other, and yet there's such a divide. That's what I was focusing on, because I think that's interesting. Like especially because the maximum amount they're allowed to have is 15 parts per billion.
You say 15?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And Jackson, the capital,
Yeah.
You know how their water's been really bad lately. I mean, it's been bad for quite a while, but
We have a problem.
but last year they had the crisis that everyone was talking about,
Yeah.
where they're like a lot of they got like flooded and a lot of their infrastructure failed and their main water treatment plant failed.
Yeah.
But in
flooded.
in 2021, the year before all that even happened, their lead content, it started out in the year as like it was 6 parts per billion, and then by the end of the year it was up to 11, so it nearly doubled. And I mean, it's just conjecture on my part, but I feel like after all that, because their report from 2022 hasn't been posted yet, because it's going to be posted probably in June or July this year. But my guess would be that level probably exceeded 15 by now. If you know,
you have to adapt that. You have to adapt that scale that you're talking about. That's just how one point compares to another point.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, but they don't tell you.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot more things to consider.
The velocity of it, or is it 1 and 2? What is it? What is the calibration there? And then what is 1 and 2?
Mm-hmm.
How much more serious is 3 than 1?
Yeah.
In other words, what's the scale on it?
Yeah,
most of the time the scale is tremendous. It's not a little bit. It's a big difference.
Yeah.
As far as health is concerned.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not like 1, like 2 is a minute thing or anything. Sometimes it's a gigantic, and the more it goes, the scale goes up.
Mm-hmm.
The more the calibration lengthens, the worse it gets. I mean, not just a little bit worse. A whole lot worse.
Any amount of lead is seen to have like some sort of health concern then.
Brain damage.
Yeah. Also in Jackson, one of their they had in 2021, like that report that I was talking about, their most recent one that was reported. Again, they haven't done 2022 yet, but it had a total of 5 violations, I think, which all the other ones I looked at did not have any. So to me, that was a lot. But one of them, there was some control issue that they were having, but one of their violations was their turbidity was like too high, so the water was like too cloudy, which is like it makes it more vulnerable to contamination. But one of them was, I forget what type of contaminant it was. I don't remember if it was a treatment byproduct or if it was just a radioactive contaminant. But it's called haloacetic acids, and I think they had like 65 parts per billion, where they were allowed to have 60, and supposedly that contaminant, like in excess, can lead to like cancer in the long term.
Yeah, no doubt.
Which is interesting. I don't know. I just think stuff like that is interesting. Supposedly they had I didn't look into it too much because since I was focusing more in just our county, I wasn't focusing on that. I just used that as sort of an exigence point. But from what I heard, a lot of their problems come from like staffing issues. Like they don't have enough people working in the water department, and the people that they do have aren't like qualified. Right. Yeah, that's just what I heard though. Could be wrong.
There's no doubt about it. Because it's so complicated that standards keep changing too. You gotta be up to date on them. You gotta be on top of them.
Mhm. It's just it's really interesting to see where the money goes, because people always make it about money, and I like to think that that's not all there is to it. I like to think that it also comes down to who is working the system. But like for example, Gaucher has the residents of Gaucher have had a problem with this for a while, and so the city's trying to correct it. But for the past like few years, people have been pretty unsatisfied with the discoloration of the water. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but their
Yeah.
water's like, and you can actually see it in my samples that I collected. It's the only one that's like kind of yellow, and they've had like multiple multi-million-dollar like grants, like federal grants, gifted to them in the past few years. Like the most recent one was like I think it was just a couple months ago. They got an EPA grant for like over $2 million, I think.
Yeah.
To like help fix the system. And then in a few years, like they've been getting grants since like 2019 at least, where they got one just from other federal agencies as well.
Well, those situations are really difficult, aren't they? When you think about it.
Yeah.
Those rain clouds may come in here from, 500,000 miles away, whatever,
Yeah.
and deposit in our water systems here, creeks, lakes, and reservoirs and everything. Chemicals and other things that aren't even in this area, but they're from way out somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's probably hard to control. I just think it's an interesting thing to
It
think.
may not even be possible to control it until you get to the point where you can control the weather, but you might be able to figure out a way to contain it,
Contain the water source.
make
Maybe.
adjustments to it or something to make it acceptable. Because you can have, I believe, not having even done the studies that you've done, that's for sure, but I believe there's so much flexibility in what you might get in an area that it requires constant adjustments, probably, if you're going to keep it on somewhere near the same level that's prescribed. Because the weather comes in here from everywhere, comes out in the Gulf, up in the mountains, out in the desert, or wherever else. You might imagine in some places you can't
Yeah.
imagine. And that contaminates water.
Yeah, I think that's why I focused on such a tight location, because like theoretically, like the difference between like Ocean Springs and Gaucher should be like minimal because we're right next to each other, and so geographically speaking, the water should be very similar. And also,
assuming there aren't a lot of man-made contaminants from manufacturing or something yet.
Yeah. Yeah, like strictly talking about the water sources themselves.
Right.
And then being in the same state, the same county, even all the legal statutes should be similar.
Right.
In terms of regulation. But, in my data, I sort of found that there is a difference still. And I guess the whole point of my research is just posing the question of why that difference is. And I don't know. Again, it's just a high school research paper,
Yeah.
so it's not like I can crack the code, but
Yeah.
I don't really know. Didn't really come up with a conclusive answer to why, but
Well, of course not, because
yeah,
they probably don't have a conclusive answer because so
otherwise it'd be fixed.
so much flexibility in it.
Yeah. Yeah, just interesting. We're not really graded on like the findings of the research. It's more about the research process itself. So
Yeah.
like, as long as we put in a hearty effort, I guess, which I did. So I'm not too worried about it.
I think it's going to be pretty good. Be pretty good. It's going to be, like I was saying, there's so many things to contribute into that study like that really flexible.
Mm-hmm. It is a nice day out.
Okay, Sam. I'm gonna do these books out here. Maybe I'll get out here one day.
Okay, yeah, I should probably
Best place for them, I think.
put that stuff up too. Good talking. Good talking.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll bring
Sure
this
will.
guitar in.